I'm exhausted. Are you exhausted from trying to micromanage every area of your life, your business, your relationship, your emotions, only to feel less in control and more anxious the more you try to control everything? Today, I'm sharing with you the counterintuitive shift that has helped me and my clients step off the hamster wheel of doing more and controlling every minutia of our lives and feel more free and at peace while still working towards my goals. This is for the high achieving female leaders who are so fucking ready to trade pressure for peace, even when the thought of doing that feels kind of scary. Welcome to Too Much, Not Enough, the podcast helping 6- and 7-figure female leaders understand how chasing success is causing low self-worth and anxiety, and how awakening your divine feminine energy will reignite flow, abundance, and ease, making you feel excited about life again. I'm your host, Hannah O'Donovan, channel and activator of the untamed divine feminine. Let's get into it. In this episode, you'll discover how control gives you a false sense of accomplishment while really teaching you subconsciously what you want is at the end of a very long to-do list, which, spoiler alert, is never ending. You'll never get to the end of that to-do list. Why surrendering doesn't mean giving up, even though it can feel in the moment like you are giving up. And the divine feminine energy shifts that help you receive more without constantly doing more. Yeah, you heard that. You can get what you want and actually beyond your wildest dreams without having to constantly do more and control every aspect of your life. So I felt particularly inspired to talk about this today because I have been, as you say, doing the work, air quotes, for many years now. I have dedicated a significant part of not only my personal life, but my professional life to evolving as a human, to helping me manage and more than manage, thrive as much as I can in a world that is often overwhelming, overstimulating, and can feel like a bit of an assault a lot of the time. And so if you asked me last year how well I felt that I was releasing control and surrendering, I would tell you I was feeling pretty friggin' good about it. Like, I have done a lot. Like, let me set the stage for you. The first 32, 33 years of my life, death grip on the wheel of life, trying to control every aspect, every part of my day, of my work, of my relationship, romantic, with family, with friends, constantly analyzing, okay, what can I be doing better? How can I be adjusting here? How can I be shifting? And trying to just like force the outcomes that I believed I wanted. And then I really leaned into this idea of surrender. And if you're listening and you hear the word surrender and it makes you roll your eyes, feel this immediate resistance in your body, then I think you need to listen really closely here because yes, surrender when you are someone who is used to feeling safety in controlling all the details can feel deeply, deeply uncomfortable, but it is the portal through which you will find the life you are looking for. So I spent time really leaning into this idea of surrender, really understanding how to resource myself, how to devote to my nervous system, how to create a felt sense of safety in my being so that I could release the death grip of control that I had on my life. And I would say it was going pretty well. Like, I really surrendered into things in my life that I thought would maybe last forever, letting go of them, into allowing the universe to put things on my doorstep that I never knew I would do or want. And the biggest thing was really allowing myself to step into a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new experience without thinking or knowing. I say knowing because we never really know, but knowing the outcome or knowing what the next steps will be or feeling sure that I was going to succeed. Because the need to feel in control all the time comes from a lot of different nervous system responses. But for me in particular, as a high achieving woman, I need to succeed. And if I'm not going to be successful at this, then I'm not going to try it. So that's all to say that I really released myself as much as I could. And it took time and it was an evolving thing into this sense of surrender. So if you asked me last year if I felt that I, had released control on life, that I was surrendering, I would have said, fuck yeah. Like, I'm really proud of how far I've come. And that still holds true. And then, as life often does, the moment you think, yeah, I've kind of figured this thing out. Like, there was something that I thought was keeping me safe and working in my favor. It wasn't. I faced it head on, and I think I've healed that part of me. And then the universe goes, oh, my love, that is so, so sweet. And I also believe that you have more to learn. And then it gives you that more to learn. And it's our choice if we want to take it or not. And for me, that more to learn was surrendering further. Mid last year in July, and I've spoken about this before in various places, but I had a miscarriage and it was devastating. I still find it hard to talk about. The emotion comes out of nowhere and it's my own version of grief. And I understand that. And I felt with all the resources I had, with the way that I had learned to feel my big emotions instead of running and hiding from them, I felt fairly confident that I had really felt this grief, that I had not shied away from it. And I hadn't. I did lean into the grief, and it was a massive initiation, and one that, in some circumstances of grief is understandable, and in others is just completely like you didn't realize it would be so deep. And that was more my experience. I did not realize that my miscarriage would take me down the way that it did. And while I felt like I felt like I stepped into it versus running away from it, which I want to say right here, if you are in the process of running away from your grief right now, that is okay. That is a response. And when you feel ready, you will face it. But I felt like I was facing it. But what I also did at the same time was throw myself into work, like full force, saying yes to everything, even while my mind was saying, this looks familiar. We've done this before and it has not worked out before. And my nervous system was saying, no, 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 no. Have we not learned? You love to say yes. You love to put on your superwoman cape and say, I can do all of this. It is something that I have done since I was little to prove that I am just as capable as the person next to me, even though that person next to me might not be experiencing the same issues with neurodivergence, with high sensitivity, with overwhelm as I may be. But I am going to prove that I can fucking do the normal thing that I need to do. And I threw myself into work in every area, every aspect, and all the boundaries that I had spent years putting in place and adjusting and rebalancing and fine tuning just went out the fucking window. And control reared its head. It was in full force. I was overthinking, overanalyzing, and really, really becoming very familiar with my old friend of control again. And I've said this before on the podcast, and I'll say it again. One of the beautiful parts of healing, and also one of the most frustrating parts of evolving as a human, is that we will meet the same challenges, the same issues, the same whatever you want to call it, over and over again. And I believe deeply that this is not because the universe is testing you or not because you are failing at anything, but because it is showing you how you are meeting this differently than your former self would have met it. So you're spiraling back around to the same issue, but you're on basically a different track. And so with this comes awareness. So I was aware. I was moving towards this death grip of control space. And this is a positive thing. If you feel like you are coming back round to the same themes, the same challenges over and over again, but you are aware that you are coming to them, even though you might not be able to completely shift how you react to them, then that's a good thing. So I was aware, but I was continuing down the path, even though I kept saying to myself, I really don't think that this is going to end well, but I just kept going. And then the holidays hit and I finally had time to slow down. I took 2 weeks off and I desperately needed those 2 weeks off. But it was also really hard because I went from this overdrive state, hyperactivity, doing a lot and having my hands on everything and feeling like this like puppet master, like I was controlling everything. But when I put the brakes on, it became so abundantly clear how even though I may have externally looked like I was crushing it because I was getting shit done and I was crossing off the to-do list and I was reaching certain markers, internally, I hated how it felt. I did not enjoy how it felt. And I hated even more how it felt to slow down. Because the thing is, when you slow down, your nervous system isn't like, okay, cool, she stopped. Good. We're just going to go back to normal. The nervous system has been holding all of what you've been putting it through for, in my case, 6 months, or previously for me, years. And it's like, okay, she's finally slowed down. It seems safe to shift out of survival mode now, but there's all this shit that now needs to be kind of like processed and excavated that we were putting on hold because she was so busy. So I will say that this break I took was deeply uncomfortable, like deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And previously I would have run for the fucking hills and tried to avoid these uncomfortable feelings. And there were moments where I really wanted to do that. But I have learned from before that the only way through is through. Can't go around, you have to go through. So I had to sit with this discomfort. And the hardest part was that I was like, I brought this on myself, which is not necessarily the right way to look at it, but I was aware of what I was doing and I kept doing it. What had happened in the last 6 months of 2025 is that the feeling of being in control of everything was giving me a false sense of accomplishment. It was making me feel like, okay, well, I'm on top of things. I'm checking off the to-do list. I'm building my business. I'm taking on clients. I'm launching a new program. I'm juggling not just in my professional life, but also in my personal life. I'm juggling so much and I'm getting shit done. I felt this sense of accomplishment, like I was really moving the needle forward in all areas of my life. Was I doing it perfectly? No. Did it feel great? No. But it felt like I was accomplishing stuff. But when I slowed down, I realized that I was on a hamster wheel. I couldn't get enough done to feel satisfied. I kept adding more to my to-do list because my nervous system was just like craving more and more, that dopamine hit of getting things done. So there was never any point where I felt, okay, I can release the grip a bit. I've gotten stuff done and now I'm back on top of things. I just constantly felt like I was accomplishing, but the to-do list was never ending, and that the need to control things and the way I was reacting to situations and people in my life was an old version of myself. And it was confusing. This sense of control, all it gave me was like no end in sight, no feeling of success, just this idea that I was accomplishing things, but there was always more to accomplish. So what I have learned before and what I am implementing again now is a real commitment to surrendering, to not feeling like I have to control and force everything in my life. Like, I don't need to add something to the to-do list every time I see someone else doing it, because I also need to be doing that. And I know this feeling so intimately because it is the feeling I felt when I first leaned into surrender, and is the feeling that I am feeling again now, that somehow my brain is telling me that loosening that grip and letting go of control means that I'm giving up. I am actively having that thought right now that, like, at the end of last year, I was hustling with my business, I was hustling in life. And now I just want to let it fucking flow. But that means that I'm giving up on my business, on myself. But that could not be further from the truth. What it means instead is that I am making space for clarity, for ease, and to receive support. And more importantly, I am making space to follow my intuition and to see what is out there that is actually meant for me, not the 500 other things that I have been distracted by that I am adding on my to-do list thinking that I have to do. So when you are feeling like you are caught on this hamster wheel and that the pressure that is mounting feels like you are going to explode, even though it feels super scary to relinquish that control, to even think about relinquishing that control, that is in fact exactly what you need to do. You need to let go of control, because this is the counterintuitive key to getting what you want without burning out. And the divine feminine energy shifts, the top ones that help you receive more without constantly doing more, are nurture, self-trust, community, and receptivity. And I'm really excited because these are the things that I am currently and will continue to implement in my life in this moment to reset myself. So nurture, taking care of yourself, mothering yourself and your body as much as you possibly can. And by this, do I mean self-care? Yes, I do, but I don't just mean that. I mean, how are you talking to yourself every day? What is that voice saying to you? And is it what you would say to a child, to your best friend? If it's not, then that needs to shift right away. Nurturing your body and taking care of it. Are you eating and fueling your body to help you move through your days? Or are you saying, I don't have time for that, I can grab a protein bar or I'll eat at dinner? Are you drinking water? Are you getting out and moving, especially in places like where I am, that it's winter and it's cold and it's dark? Are you prioritizing those things? Or has it been 5 days and you've barely gotten 5,000 steps in? Are you listening to your intuition? Are you trusting yourself? Or like me, was that intuition speaking to you? Was that knowing really loud, Hannah, you need to slow down. You're doing too much, and your death grip of control is actually not taking you to where you desire to go? Are you ignoring that voice? Are you saying, yeah, I hear you, and I know you're right because I've seen it work before. When I trust that inner knowing, it always works out, but I'm not going to listen to you right now because somehow it feels safer to keep going along the track that I'm going on? Are you connecting with community? I always find this is like one of the first things to go. And again, it wasn't like I wasn't seeing people or socializing, but it wasn't in the nourishing way that I needed. I think there's a difference between socializing and finding nourishing community. And so, are you in community that nourishes you? And if not, that is like one of the top things that you want to prioritize. And finally, receptivity. Where are you allowing yourself to receive messages or clarity? Or are you just barreling down so fast that you don't have time to even stop and receive? Are you receiving joy and love and happiness or spaciousness? Are you able to even receive the things that you want. Because that's another thing when we're stuck in this like false sense of control and accomplishment. We may even be getting the things that we want, but we don't have the presence to receive them. So if you, like me, have been able to surrender before, but then because you're human, found yourself back in a space that isn't working for you and need to reset, or if you have never understood what it is like to release control out of the fear of what might happen, then these are the 4 shifts I highly encourage you to do now to implement ASAP. Nurture yourself, lean into your self-trust. As women, we have a powerful intuition. It can lead us to exactly where we want to go. The tricky part is listening and trusting it, having the faith that even though we might not have the guaranteed success or understanding of how that success is going to come at the end, when we trust our bodies to lead us, it will take us to great places. Community, nourishing community, and taking time to receive. So remember, as much as control may give you a sense of safety and accomplishment, that is a false sense. It is really teaching you that what you want is just at the end of the to-do list. If you keep going, you'll get there, but that to-do list never actually ends because that feeling of control encourages you to keep adding more, to keep going on side quests that takes you away from where you really truly desire to go. And when you can lean into surrender, as scary as that might feel, it does not mean that you're giving up on yourself, on your dreams, on your relationships, even though it might feel like that in the moment. It means that you are making space for support, for clarity, and for ease. All beautifully nourishing things in your life, and it will catapult you. I promise. I've seen this happen with myself and others over and over again. It will catapult you towards the things you truly want in life. And it will allow you to release the anxiety that you're feeling, that need to micromanage and everything, and allow you to receive more, which as women is our natural state of being. We have been tricked through society, through marketing, through relationships that women are meant to give and not receive, and that could not be further from the truth. When we are able to receive, that is how we give more. And finally, as I said, the shifts, the divine feminine energy shifts that help you receive more without constantly doing more are self-nurture, self-trust, community, and receptivity. So I ask, are you going to join me as we reset and jump off the hamster wheel, feel more free and at peace while still working towards our goals? Thank you so much for listening and trusting that your deepest desires are inevitable and that you deserve to be turned on by life. New episodes drop every Wednesday and Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. I'll see you back here next time. Are you still stuck in the cycle of overdrive and feeling anxious even after trying things like meditating, journaling, maybe even resting? These tools only work at the level of the mind and can't create the safety your body is craving when your nervous system is dysregulated. That's where the Somatic Return Journey comes in, a free 5-day audio experience designed to help high-achieving women like you finally regulate your nervous system, awaken your divine feminine energy, and reconnect with the part of you that leads with flow and not force, no matter what's happening around you. In less than 15 minutes a day, you'll feel more grounded, empowered, and emotionally agile by this time next week. Head to the link in the show notes to get started.